Welcome to the Book Review Podcast.
Great to be diving into another one.
Today we're tackling a classic, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. It's pure self-help, really packed with stories and practical advice.
Absolutely. It's all about understanding worry, dealing with anxiety, the power of your own mind, and lots of real-life examples of people who beat worry.
Yeah, we're going to unpack Carnegie's main ideas and see, how they might actually work for you, the listener, in your own life.
So where does he start? Well, Carnegie kicks things off with what he calls fundamental facts about worry, like the basics you need to grasp.
Right, like Sir William Osler's idea of day-tight compartments.
Yeah.
I found that analogy really stuck with me.
It's powerful, isn't it? Thinking of your life like a ship, and you got to seal off yesterday and tomorrow to keep today afloat.
Exactly. And Carlyle's quote fits right in. Our main business is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. Focus on now.
It's about grounding yourself in the present moment. And Carnegie doesn't, pull any punches about the physical side of worry either.
No, he doesn't. That Dr. Alexis Carrel point about businessmen who don't fight worry dying young, that's pretty stark.
It is. And mentioning things like angina pectoris really drives home how worry can, physically hurt you. Intense pain.
And think about the statistic he mentions about hospital beds filled with people suffering from nervous issues. It really shows the mind-body connection, doesn't it?
Definitely. Which leads straight into his next big point, live one day at a time.
Robert Louis Stevenson's quote comes in here. Anyone can carry his burden until nightfall. Makes it feel manageable.
Yeah, just get through today. Carnegie uses Mrs. E.K. Shields' story. She went through a lot, but adopted this motto, every day is a new life to a wise man.
That's a great motto. And apparently Horace said something similar way back.
Right. It's timeless wisdom. And Stephen Leacock's point about how we always put off living, hits home.
And the story of Edward S. Evans nearly breaking down from worry until he learned to live in the present. It shows the real danger.
So, okay, worry is bad. Live in the present. Got it. But, how? When you're drowning in worry?
This is where Willis H. Carrier's magic formula comes in. It's a 3-step process he used. Step 1, analyze the situation. Fearlessly. Honestly. What's the absolute worst that could happen?
And that's crucial, isn't it? Naming the fear, taking it from this vague monster into something specific, even if it's bad.
Exactly. You define it. Then step 2, and this one feels kind of weird at first. Reconcile yourself to accepting that worst outcome, if it has to happen.
Right. Not giving up, but accepting the possibility, mentally preparing for it. Lin Yutang said peace comes from accepting the worst.
Professor William James called it being willing to have it so. It's like you stop fighting the possibility of the worst thing.
And that sort of frees up energy, doesn't it? Energy you were using to just resist and panic.
Precisely. Which leads to step 3. Calmly put your time and energy into trying to improve on that worst-case scenario you've now accepted.
Because you're not frantic anymore. You've faced the fear. Now you can think. Carnegie gives Carrier's own example, right? With that gas cleaning contract.
Yeah, he accepted he might lose a ton of money, and then he could calmly figure out a solution that actually worked and saved the day.
We see it too with that oil dealer being blackmailed. He faced ruin, accepted it as a possibility, then could think clearly enough to get legal help.
And Earl P. Haney's story is wild. The guy with incurable ulcers decides to travel the world, brings his own casket.
He basically did the formula without knowing it, accepted the worst, freed himself up to live, and amazingly, got better. It shows the power of just letting go of that resistance.
Okay, so that's a powerful tool for specific worry situations. But what about breaking the habit of worry? Carnegie gives 6 rules for that. Rule 1.
Crowd it out, keep busy. Sounds almost too simple, right?
A little bit, yeah. But the psychology makes sense.
Totally. Your mind can only really focus intensely on one thing at a time. So if you fill it with activity...
Less room for worry. He tells that story about Marion J. Douglas after losing his daughters.
Yeah, finding solace, building a boat, doing repairs, just keeping occupied. It gave him a mental break, Yeah. And maybe a sense of accomplishment, too.
And he mentions famous busy people like Churchill, Kettering, too busy to worry. Pasteur finding peace in libraries and laboratories.
Even Army psychiatrists used activity therapy for shell-shocked soldiers. Occupational therapy, basically. It works.
It doesn't have to be huge things either. Longfellow caring for his kids, translating after his wife died.
Tennyson's line, I must lose myself in action lest I wither in despair.
Wow. Powerful. Osa Johnson, going back to lecturing. Admiral Byrd's intense scheduling in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Structure and activity as anchors.
Dr. Cabot called work a cure for the trembling palsy of the soul. And that story of Tremper Longman beating insomnia by just working hard.
George Bernard Shaw had a funny take. The secret of being miserable is to have the leisure to bother about whether you are happy or not.
There's some truth to that. Okay, rule number 2.
Don't fuss about trifles. Don't let the little things, the termites of life, get you down.
The small stuff. Kipling's story about the fight over hay. How something tiny can blow up and cause lasting resentment.
Yeah, empirically saying, come gentlemen, we sit too long on trifles. Still relevant today.
The analogy of the giant tree killed by tiny beetles. It's often the accumulation of small worries that does the real damage, isn't it?
Right. And I like the story of Charles Seifert making a whistle while stuck waiting with mosquitoes. Shift your focus.
The bottom line is clear. Life is too short to be little. Don't waste energy on insignificant stuff.
Rule number 3 is interesting. Use the law of averages to outlaw your worries. Basically, look at the actual odds.
Yeah, step back and get some perspective. Carnegie mentions his own childhood fears being buried alive. Lightning strikes things that almost never happen.
He points out how we worry more about those rare things than, say, common diseases. It's irrational.
Lloyd's of London literally makes money betting against those unlikely worries people have.
And that statistic comparing peacetime death rates to Gettysburg casualties. It really shows how worry blows risk out of proportion.
Mrs. Salinger's story, 11 years of self-made hell over things that never happened. A cautionary tale.
Even the Navy used stats about torpedo tankers to help sailors manage their fear realistically. Knowing the actual odds help.
So examining the probability can sometimes, diffuse the worry. Okay, rule 4.
Cooperate with the inevitable. Accept what you simply cannot change.
This isn't being passive, right? It's about recognizing reality.
Exactly. Carnegie talks about losing his finger as a kid and just accepting it quickly. And the elevator operator who barely thought about his lost hand. Adaptation.
That inscription in Amsterdam, it is so. It cannot be otherwise. Just acknowledging what is. William James again. Be willing to have it so.
Elizabeth Conley accepting her nephew's death in the war. The biscuit salesman accepting the risks of his job. Socrates facing death calmly.
And Dr. Niebuhr's serenity prayer, of course. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. That sums it up beautifully.
It really does. Now, rule 5. Put a stop-loss order on your worries.
A stop-loss, like in trading.
Kind of. Decide how much worry something is worth, how much life you're willing to spend on it, and then stop. Cut your losses.
Okay, I get it. Carnegie did this with his rejected novel, called it a noble experiment, and moved on. Thoreau's quote fits here: the cost of a thing is the amount of life which is required to be exchanged for it.
Don't overpay with worry. The Gilbert and Sullivan feud over a carpet. They let a trifle ruin their partnership because they didn't put a stop-loss on their anger.
Right. Contrast that with Lincoln, who refused to hold grudges, or Jack Dempsey accepting his defeats and looking ahead.
Even prisoners in Sing Sing eventually learn to accept their sentence, to stop fighting the irreversible. The moving finger writes, and having writ, moves on.
Let it go. Don't keep throwing good emotional energy after bad.
Which ties into the last rule in this section, Rule 6. Let the past bury its dead. Don't sawdust.
Another great metaphor.
Yeah.
Sawing sawdust is pointless, right? The wood's already cut. Dwelling on past mistakes you can't change is just as futile.
It drains your energy for today. Focus forward.
Okay, so those are the rules for breaking the habit. Then he shifts to cultivating a positive mental attitude. 7 ways.
Chapter 12, Start Strong. 8 words that can transform your life.
Which are?
Our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
Absolutely fundamental. Your mindset shapes your reality. Carnegie stresses choosing the right thoughts, and he distinguishes between concern, which is constructive, and worry, which is destructive.
Right, like Lowell Thomas, who had serious problems but kept a calm demeanor. He was concerned, not worried, sick.
Chapter 13. It just hammers home Rule 6 again. Never try to saw sawdust. Keep looking ahead.
A good, sharp reminder. Then chapter 14. This one's maybe a bit surprising. Don't expect gratitude.
Why not?
He tells a story about a missionary who faced a lot of ingratitude. The point is, give for the joy of giving, not to get thanks. Expecting it sets you up for disappointment.
Okay, so detach from the outcome. Manage your own expectations. That makes sense. Less chance of feeling resentful.
Exactly. Chapter 15 is huge. Count your blessings.
Gratitude, a classic for a reason.
Totally. He tells stories about people who turn their lives around just by shifting focus. Like the guy whose father's letter and a sermon made him see what he had, not just his problems. Frank Whaley had a similar turnaround.
Montaigne's quote fits perfectly. A man is not hurt so much by what happens as by his opinion of what happens. It's your perspective.
And William James's idea, act cheerful. And you might start to feel cheerful. Fake it till you make it. Kinda.
It can work. He contrasts the miserable woman in California with people like H.J. Englert, who chose cheerfulness despite illness, or that sergeant on Guadalcanal who just asked, what am I worrying about? Reframing.
Focus on the 90%, that's right, not the 10% wrong. He mentions Swift's best doctors too. Diet, quiet, and merriment. A good attitude is key.
And appreciating what you have, not just what you lack. Schopenhauer was maybe a bit gloomy on that. John Palmer's story, changed by a disabled vet's perspective. Lucille Blake after a health scare. Gratitude is powerful.
Chapter 16 is simple. Let's not imitate others. Be yourself.
Authenticity. Dr. Fosdick's story of the caged canary wanting to be something else. It highlights the unhappiness of trying to fit a mold you weren't made for.
Just be you. Chapter 17. When fate hands us a lemon, let's try to make a lemonade.
Turning adversity into opportunity. Resilience.
Yeah. The north wind making the Vikings stronger. Ole Bull, the violinist, finishing on 3 strings after 1 snapped. Amazing.
William Bolitho's quote about profiting from losses. Finding the lesson, the growth in setbacks.
And the last one in this section, chapter 18. How to cure melancholy in 14 days.
Okay, maybe not a literal cure for clinical depression, but what's the idea?
It's about engagement. Connecting with others, getting busy helping people. C.R. Burton's resilience after losing family. The man who lost everything but found joy in simple things.
Alfred Adler's advice. Occupy yourself with others. Shift the focus outward. Carnegie also touches on faith here, how it helped people like Mary Cushman in the Depression, John Anthony facing a crisis, finding strength beyond yourself.
Right. And he does briefly mention finding the right work and getting your finances sorted as other important ways to cut down worry. Practical stuff matters too.
Definitely. Those are major stress points for a lot of people. Addressing them directly reduces worry.
Then comes this incredible section, How I Conquered Worry. 32 true stories. We can't go through them all, but the variety is amazing.
Yeah, just reading the names and snippets gives you a sense of the range. Roger Babson becoming optimistic, Elmer Thomas beating an inferiority complex.
RVC Bodley finding peace in the Sahara, Dorothy Dick saying, I stood yesterday, I can stand today.
J.C. Penney thinking he wouldn't see the dawn, Gene Autry keeping his supply lines open.
E. Stanley Jones hearing a voice, Jack Dempsey calling worry his toughest fight, Reverend Wood learning from watching his wife wash dishes.
Yes.
So human.
Louis Montet realizing time solves a lot of things. Connie Mack fearing an early grave from worry. Joseph Cotter looking for the green light.
GRW, whose marriage was saved by a book. Paul Sampson realizing he was killing himself slowly. Frank Molnar on setbacks.
Joseph Ryan accepting death, then choosing life. Ordway Ted becoming a great dismisser. Catherine Farmer not eating for 18 days from worry. Finding help in this book.
Cameron Shipp learning to laugh at himself. Del Hughes, keep busy. Homer Croy and the Sheriff.
Dr. Seuss's guiding sentence. Ted Erickson hitting bottom in Alaska. Percy Whiting realizing he was a world's biggest jackass from worry.
Kathleen Halter praying not to go to an orphanage. Colonel Egan using the gym and hikes. Jim Birdsall the worrying wreck.
John Homer Miller's One at a Time. Mrs. Berger's Real Miracle. Rockefeller living 45 extra years. Professor Phelps's 5 Methods. It just goes on.
It really shows that worry hits everyone in all sorts of ways, but there are so many paths out.
Absolutely. It's incredibly inspiring to see that sheer volume of personal victories.
And finally, Carnegie wraps up by listing 16 ways this book will help you. It's like a summary of the benefits, practical formulas, peace of mind, less financial stress, tons of inspiration.
Yeah, he's really making the case for why you should engage with these ideas. It hits on exactly what listeners often want. Actionable stuff, aha, moments.
And the book delivers, doesn't it? Through those clear principles and all those stories.
It's very direct, very accessible. He makes these big ideas feel usable in everyday life.
So that was our deep dive into Dale Carnegie's How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. We covered a lot of ground, from understanding worry to practical techniques and mindset shifts.
Yeah, the core messages really hold up. Focus on today. Face your fears logically. Manage your thoughts. Find gratitude. Stay busy. Accept the inevitable. It's a timeless toolkit.
Maybe take a moment now to think about which of these ideas really clicked for you. Is there one principle, maybe just one, you could try applying this week?
Could it be trying that three-step formula next time you feel overwhelmed? Or maybe just consciously deciding not to sawdust about something from the past?
Thanks for listening to the Book Review Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a comment. We'd love to hear what resonated.
See you next time.